Hello, welcome back to another one of my video on comic book speculation. This is part two. Hopefully that noise that you're hearing is not too distracting, but that's the plumber working on my hot water heater. That was one of the bad things that happened in the last couple of weeks. We finally decided to rehaul the hot water system in the house. Anyway, thanks for the good response and comments on the first video on comic book speculations, and a big shout out to Mercenaut. Mercenaut sent me a reply with a link to a bunch of old newspaper articles that date back to 1964 and 1965, talking about the rising value of comic books. Okay, so uh, for my first video where I speculated that speculation took off at the birth of the price guide, now there are more evidence that it could take place a few years earlier, which is great. You know, this whole process is about learning about the history of comic books, especially on the speculation. Certainly, the age of the internet have accelerated the speculation in the hobby. But you know, back in the old days, it's it's neat to see articles talking about rising value of comic books as early age 64, 65. Now you have to understand, back in the old days, news do not travel like it is today. Not like an article written in the New York Times is gonna be read by people all the way across the country. So no doubt, if that same article are written today, you know, who knows how fast things would spread. The neat thing about after Mercenaut sent me the link and I read it, I went through my boxes of old stuff and found the very first price guide that I bought. In the very first video, I mentioned I bought the first comic book price guide in 1983. But when I bought it in 83, I bought the older version because I was cheap. So I went to the store, and once the news, when the new price guide, number 13 came out, my local comic store put up for sale the old store copy that they had that was well read and beat up for cheap. I think it was like $3 or $4, something like that. So I bought it just for the sake of having a price guide, and I love it. I love the content inside. It's a lot of fun, even now, to flip through it and see how things used to be, and just to see all the ads in there to see which dealer are still around today. It's a lot of fun. Sadly, the majority of the people that advertise in this book probably is out of business today. But if you ever have a chance to pick up an used price guide, especially the old one, pick it up. It's a lot of fun to read. There are quite a few articles in there that kind of give you an insight on the mindset of the dealers back then. One of the neat thing that I found once I found this book again and flipped through it is this little snippet. Okay, snippet. Let me read it to you. And it's related to what Mercenaut said to me as far as 1964 and 1965. This is 1982. Okay, so this price guide came out in 1982. And in there, in the market section where they're talking about the market, here's what it said. Since speculation in comic books market began around 1964, most all titles since that time have been saved and are in plentiful supply. Interesting, don't you think? Mentioned here in the price guide, 1964. So if anybody have more things to send to me to read or more comments about this 1964 phenomenon, let me know. Like I said, I'm very interested in the history of comic books as well as history of the speculation of comic books. So I thought that was really neat. One question I would like to pose also is, when is bags and board introduced in the hobby? I'm guessing the early 70s, but for anyone out there that was blessed enough to start collecting in the 60s, let me know if bags and board were around in the 60s, and let me know when you start to use those things, because to me that's definitely part of the speculation of phase. When people start to hoard the books, buy multiple copies, as well as trying to protect them with bags and board and all that stuff. But so I learned something new today. Or this week as I read through these old price guide. 1964 is the perhaps could be one of the earliest starting point of the age of speculation in comic books. Anyhow, that's all I have for this video, and thanks for watching.